high call series.
So we have completed the lesson about the living and non-living things, right? And now it is time for us to do the activity part of this particular lesson. Okay. So the activity part actually starts with the think and answer section. Tick the correct option is the first exercise that we have in this. Okay. So we have three sentences here, right? And all the three sentences are incomplete ones, means they are not a complete sentences, only half of them is seen here. Okay, and the remaining part of that is actually are there in the options given. See, every sentence has got A, B, and C. Three options are there. Okay, three options are there with every sentence, and we need to identify the correct option out of that. Clear? So the first one, the things that we see around us are living things, non-living things, both A and B. So living things are those things which have a life, like the animals, birds, insects, plants, our friends, our parents, isn't it? Yes. Non-living things are those things which do not have any life, isn't it? Like a table, chair, bag, pen, pencil, book, house, stone, right? So, what is the right answer here? The things that we see around us are living things, non-living things, both A and B. See, we see all the things, isn't it? Yeah, we see plants, animals, birds, insects, human beings. At the same time, we see rocks, vehicles, chair, table, bag, everything, buildings, everything, isn't it? So, what is the right answer here? Both A and B. Means what? Yeah, the things that we see around us are both living things and non-living things. Okay? So the things that we see around us are both living things and non-living things. Now, the second one. The things that breathe are living things, non-living things, both A and B. So we have seen some differences in between a living thing and a non-living thing, isn't it? We have seen some differences. So one among them was that living things can breathe, non-living things doesn't breathe. We breathe through the nose. Then fish has got the special organs near the neck called gills. Even plants absorb carbon dioxide and leave out oxygen, isn't it? So all living things do breathe in something and breathe out something, right? But what about the non-living things? Do you think a pen can breathe? Or this board can breathe? Huh? They won't breathe, isn't it? They won't breathe. So the things that breathe are called the living things. Okay? The things that breathe are called the living things. Now, a car is a living thing, a non-living thing, or none of A and B. So, a car is something which doesn't have any life. It doesn't grow. It doesn't move. It doesn't take any food, isn't it? So, car is an example for a non-living thing, right? So, I'll read the sentences once again. The things that we see around us are both living things and non-living things. The things that breathe are living things. A car is a non-living thing, right? So now I'll keep the answers for these questions, and yes, I will keep the frame for you for a minute to read them. Okay? Yes. See, the things that we see around us are both A and B, means both A, living things, and non-living things, right? The things that breathe are called living things. Then a car is a non-living thing, right? So we have done it well and perfectly. So now I will keep this screen the same for you for another minute so that you too can read these sentences by yourself. Okay? The next one, think and answer. Answer the following questions. So now we have 4 questions. 4 questions are there which are taken from this particular lesson, living things and non-living things. Okay. So we need to read the questions one by one and find the answers from what we have learned in the lesson. Okay. 1. Define the terms living things and non-living things. Define the terms living things and non-living things. So living things are things that have life. Non-living things are things that have no life. So how are the living things and the different non-living things defined? Living things are things that have life. Non-living things are things that have no life. Okay? So living things are those things which have a life, and non-living things do not have any life. Right? Next. Why do living things move? So this is one particular speciality that we have learned, that living things move, non-living things do not move. Right? So why do living things move? Living things move to get food or to save themselves from enemies. So there are basically 2 reasons for the living things to move. One is, yes, to get food, to go in search of food, and the second, to protect themselves from enemies. Right? So what are the reasons by which living things move? Living things move because of 2 reasons. 1, in search of food. Second, to save themselves from animals, right, or enemies. 3, write any 2 features of a living things. Write any 2 features of a living thing. We have learned some features, isn't it? What are they? Living things move, living things breathe, living things eat food, living things reproduce and die, living things grow, right? So there are 5 or 6 different features that we have learned about living things, and we can write any 2 of them. For example, living things move, living things breathe, living things eat food, living things reproduce, living things die, living things grow. Okay, any of these 2. You see an aeroplane flying in the sky. What do you think? It's living or a non-living thing? Aeroplane is a non-living thing. It can move, but it cannot breathe or eat food. So when you look at the sky, you will see an aeroplane there. So what do you think? Aeroplane is a living thing or a non-living thing? We know aeroplane, just like what we said about the car in the previous question, is a vehicle and it's a non-living thing. Why it is not a non-living thing? It doesn't have life. Can an aeroplane move by itself? Living things move by themselves. There is no need for somebody to move it, isn't it? But vehicles, they move because we move it. They won't move by themselves, isn't it? So even if, somehow they can move, do they eat food? Do they breathe? Do they grow? No. So aeroplane cannot breathe or eat food. So aeroplane is not a vehicle. Right? So the 4 questions. Define the term living things and non-living things. Living things are things that have life. Non-living things are things that have no life. Now, why do living things move? Living things move to get food and to save themselves from enemies. 3. Write any 2 features of living things. Living things move, breathe, eat food, reproduce and die. 4. You see an aeroplane flying in the sky. What do you think? It's a living or non-living thing? Aeroplane is a non-living thing. It can move, but it can't breathe or eat food. Right? So these are the 4 questions from this lesson. So now I'll keep this screen the same for another minute for you, so that you can read the questions and the answers once again. Okay?